I'm Mitchell Levy, Global Credibility Expert, and we're at one of my funnest times of the day where we get to talk to super amazing units who are doing cool things in the world. We get to talk about their values. And we have one today that I'm so looking forward to. I had so much fun in the green room so far. And I want to introduce you to Hope. So now I should have asked your name, Zoeller?
Zeller, drop the O.
Zeller. Okay, so we'll start over. Let me introduce you to Hope Zeller. And Hope, hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm really, this is one of my funnest times of the day. So I have to be amazing. And I am. And I'd like to ask the question, who are you?
Well, beyond just being Hope, I would say I am an individual that is very passionate about helping other people grow, and that's personally and professionally. And I have been that way as a young child when I was organizing my stuffed animals for the classroom, and I had my A students in the front, my B students in the back, my C students, in the third row. Generally, those were my sister's dolls. And they would be the ones that needed, Hope's dolls always got A's, and then, B's were some of the dolls that were, not quite as bright in certain subjects or whatever. But it's, I truly believe I got put on this earth to be hopeful for other individuals. And, I got named, interestingly enough, I got named after the Hope Diamond. So my mom and dad in the 70s went to the World Fair in Chicago and they saw the Hope Diamond. And this was in the days when we were still having world fairs. They saw the Hope Diamond and they said, if this is a little girl, my mom was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months pregnant. If this is a little girl, we're going to name her Hope. Because my dad said, this is the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen in my life. And I've fortunately got to see it in the Smithsonian in Washington. And it is amazing. But what's interesting about the Hope Diamond, if you did not know, is for a number of years, people owned it. And it went from family to family. People would purchase it. But everyone that had it, it seemed that bad luck would fall upon them. So finally, one family donated it because they said that it was not to be owned, but it was to be enjoyed by many people. And I have really loved that story. And I try to think that in context of hope, I try to bring hope to a lot of people and just helping people become the best versions of themselves, not the version that other people think they should be, but the version that they were born to be. So what is their hope? What is it that they excel at? And we all have something that we do. And I think it's just surrounding yourself with people that believe in you and help you to get to that place wherever it is that you want to be.
What came out of that for me is hope. What do you hope for?
I hope for people to really be able to be, especially after the last 2 years, wake up every day and enjoy what it is that they do and where they are. I truly hope that for people. I myself have been in a job, corporate America, for 14 years, where there were days that I physically almost couldn't get out of bed. I knew that I wasn't in the right place, in the right space. I knew I wasn't living my values. I wasn't living my passion. And I work with a lot of individuals that are in a similar space. And so, my hope is for people to be able to have some aspect of their life that fulfills them. And I know, it's not like you get to do what you want to do every day, that there's not some things in a day that you have to do. But for the most part, being able to have something that you enjoy, even if it's you have a day job, you work for so many hours a week, and then at night you get to be a musician, or, you get to go teach something that you really love to teach. It's just, how do you integrate that into your life where you do have things that you're passionate about? And, I'm coaching someone right now that this person doesn't have that. And so my thing for him, homework, was find something you enjoy. Find something that can make you the best version of you, because this person is burned out. They're understaffed, which so many leaders, so many companies right now are doing a lot with less. Leaders are having to fill in for jobs because there's no people to do the jobs anymore. So what is it that brings you joy and happiness that can make you or help make you the best version of you? Because you feel like all the pieces of it are somehow being fulfilled.
I started thinking about questions, and I'm thinking, when was the first time you had hope? You sort of said that. And then probably, so 14 years in corporate,
Mhm.
Do you have hope at any point in time there? Or because at some point in time when you didn't want to get out of bed,
Right.
how did you,
It,
how
it
did,
was
how
bad.
did you break out of that?
Well, it was, I will tell you, and we were talking about this in the green room, that people don't leave organizations, they leave bad leadership. And I had a run of leaders that were not always supportive of what I wanted to do and wanted to be. And I did have many, many pockets of joy. I got to travel internationally. I went into management. And, my ultimate goal when I was in my, early 30s was I remember telling my manager, I just want to be, I just want to be in management, and I want to make $20,000 a year. That was my goal. And so he said, I think we can make that, so I think right out of the gate, I was making like 27,005. And man, I was on fire. I was like, this is amazing. So I got into a role in management and learning and development that I absolutely adored. I loved. But in corporate America, they move you around. It's really not about what you're always passionate about. And I remember two specific instances that made me realize I needed to figure something out. And one was my leader telling me in a performance evaluation that things that I was passionate about, I gave 100% to. And I had enthusiasm and, just for doing it. But the things that I was not passionate about, he did not find me to put as much energy into. And I remember sitting there going, right. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't have I'd only have so much energy to give. So that was the first light bulb that went off of, what this is not going to be where I'm going to end this game, or I'm going to retire. And then when I finished grad school, I had a manager come up to me and say, that is so awesome. You have your doctorate in leadership education. When you retire in 25 years, are you going to go teach? Or are you going to use that degree to go teach? And I thought, 25 years, I could be gone in 25 years. I don't want the time for that all to start for me to be later. I want it to be now. And then, just again, through a series of some non-supportive leadership, and, I was also to blame for some of that as well. I mean, I don't put 100% accountability on someone else, but it was a true gift, and it made me dig deep and ask myself what I wanted. Like, what do I want for my life? And it's so much bigger. I have so much more to give than where I am right now. And, and I did have a lot of people that told me I was leaving stock. I was leaving good salary. I was leaving benefits. And, I took a 60% pay cut to leave, to go work for someone to do leadership development for 5 years, because it just was where I knew I needed to be. It was just like this internal calling of, you've got something to give people. You can help people. And like I said, I take it all the way back to when I was playing with my animals being a teacher. And I even got feedback on my report card in a negative way, that the teacher said that I was too busy helping other people, that I needed to sit at my own desk and do my own work, not help other people. And I laugh because I look at that report card now and I was like, I wish I could contact that teacher. I turned this into a business. I help people now. I help people be good, like whatever it is that they want to be or aspire to be, just being that motivator.
How do people, what went through you inside? I mean, I have a really interesting model I think about in terms of helping people be happy. But what went through you, inside of you, at that point in time where you're going, I'm taking a 60% cut, and this is going to work out for me?
I will first and foremost have a very, very supportive family. I mean, my dad's a third generation business owner. So he's always, and he's still, he's 77, he still runs his company. He's amazing. But,
awesome. By the way, that is just awesome.
It is awesome. It's, and he loves what he does. It's wood, it's veneer. He does, it's a woodworking company. One of the ones still standing in the country, by the way, because of all the things that, have gone on through the pandemic and such. But I remember him saying to me, just do what you love and the rest will follow. And he said, your mom and I are here to support you. And, there's no failure in this. If you try this and it doesn't work, you can always go back to doing, a corporate job again, although I would go into it with a very different mindset this time. Of course, being older would help. Now that I've had experience externally, it would be completely
surprise.
I definitely know now what I don't want, more so even sometimes than what you do want. But, it was just that moment that it's okay. It's, I want this to be successful and I want to succeed, but I so deeply believe in the need for this because of working so long in corporate America, not seeing a lot of that support exist for leaders. And I tell C-suite leaders this, especially sometimes, it's lonely. It can be very lonely being in those positions. And because it's, the things that you can say, the things that you can't say, and how are you showing up and how are you, so just that belief and helping them be the best that they can be, putting the oxygen on themselves so that they can turn around and they can do that for other people and they can lead their teams, they can lead their company and help make that successful. And so I just went into it and thought, what's the worst case? I had a bit of savings. I was like, if this doesn't work out, I can go 6 months. And I know within 6 months, I can do something. I mean, it wasn't this fear for the first time in my life. I feared more staying in that situation than I feared.
Ooh.
Because
what did you fear? That's fascinating.
I feared that I would wake up, at 25 years later and look back and think, gosh, there's so many more things I could have been doing. And not that staying in that job would have been a bad, it was fine. It was an okay job. It was a good income. It was good people outside of some of the people that I interacted with. But I don't know, it was just this fear of not being true to who I was. And, and I got told a lot to be less emotional. I got told a lot to be, less aggressive wasn't quite the word, but let's just say it was aggressive. To just, if I didn't agree with something, sometimes you just don't say anything. You just let it go. And I wasn't very good about that. I mean, you talk about living your value. When something was in conflict with what I thought it should be, I wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to understand why this was happening. And more, the higher that you would go, it was more about, in my opinion, in the situation I was in, was being compliant with some things. And I don't work well with that. And I don't work well being micromanaged. I needed to be so much more, I felt. And so I felt that if I stayed, how every day a little bit of that passion that I had for wanting to do something was just a little bit was dying. That it was because I was having to suppress it. And I don't think any of us deserve to have to do that. There should be, you should be able to live the life that you want. That doesn't mean that along the way you don't make sacrifices. I did. I stayed for quite a while in a situation that wasn't comfortable, but I was finishing grad school. I was working towards the bigger plan. And I tell people all the time, you have to live plan A and work plan B. So those days that were the most stressful for me, I was working on a plan for the next thing. I was thinking about if I was going to run a leadership company, like what would I be doing? And I must have talked to at least 50 people. Tell me your story. Tell me what it is you do. How did you get started? So I had all these points of inspiration on understanding what this road was going to look like. And no, it wasn't going to be easy. The pandemic was very hard. I was an in-person person that had to go virtual. I didn't even know what Zoom was. It just was like, what?
No kidding, really?
Yes. And, and I remember having a breakdown about mid-April because everything that I had planned had gotten canceled. And I'm like, what am I going to do for income? And I was sitting 11 years in business. Like, oh my God, this is going to be the end. So my husband, who's very technologically savvy, got me a really good mic, got me set up with a camera. And he's like, you can do this. He's like, there is no reason why Hope can't come through Zoom like she does on an airplane to a company. And it has totally changed my business model now. I do the in-person, but I also do the virtual. It's like, there's so many more possibilities from that experience that have opened up, not only for me, but for everybody. And I'm encouraging leaders now as we're doing this post reflection of the pandemic and what does this look like. I'm telling people, none of us picked this to happen, but if we're not using this as this opportunity right now to show up better, we've missed it. We've missed it because there are so many ways to do things better, personally and professionally, how we're living our lives, what we say yes to, what we say no to, because we realized we want more. And I don't say balance anymore with life. I say it's integration, because it's, I might be working on something at 10 o'clock at night, but the next morning I'm at my niece's school play. And so, I'm going to take the morning to go do that. And then I come back in the afternoon and I get some stuff done. I just think we all want more flexibility and being able to live our best life and just helping and encouraging people and knowing that they have choices, because I feel like and you may experience this with individuals you work with. I just feel so many people don't feel like they have choices. And so then that paralyzes them a little bit from making decisions. And as I say, it's not going to be easy. Fear does hold us back. But again, for me, it was more fear of not doing something and of staying and then looking back and saying, what could it have been? And I wanted to know. And then if it needed to be something else, at least I tried. At least I tried it.
So funny, as you were speaking, one of the images that came to mind was I sat on the board of a NASDAQ firm for 9 years.
Uh-huh.
And every time things would crop up, I always thought to myself, okay, imagine, I always thought that the Perry Mason, remember the Perry Mason episodes, there are lawyers questioning you and you're this beautiful wood bench. This doesn't always happen in real life. And you're in this beautiful wood bench and the judge is pristine. And the lawyer says, did you do as much research as you can and make the best decision you can at the time? And that was whenever I made a vote, as sitting on the board of directors, that was my thought process. And it sounds like that's along the lines of your statement, the fear that you didn't really hold true to who you are.
Yes. And I thought in that moment, if I'm not changing and learning and growing, I don't deserve to be helping other people do that. It's like a doctor telling you to go exercise. And then you're like, well, can you tell me what do you do to exercise? Oh, I don't exercise. I'm just telling you, it would be really good for you to exercise. It's like, I need to be living what it is I want to help people do. And that's putting the oxygen on me, taking care of myself. That's, believing in myself, trying something that I've never done before. And I don't say I can't do something. I say I can't do it yet.
Exactly.
And you know what? And I haven't earned the right. My first couple Zooms I didn't earn the right to be good at it yet. I mean, sometimes you just have to, the win is the experience. The win is you try. And then the next time you do it, it gets a little bit better. And, I've been doing yoga for 30 years. And I remember somebody going to class with me and I popped up into a handstand. I say pop up. It's taken me 30 years to pop up into handstand. So I remember that my friend going with me and was so mad. It was her first yoga class. She said, I don't think I want to go back. I can't do a handstand. And I just looked at her and I said, you haven't earned the right yet. I'm sorry. It's like, it's the grit. You got to put your heart into it. You've got to keep showing up. And, even as long as I've been doing this, it's about continually showing up and how can I be the best version of me? And it's continually learning things that I can help people, teach people that can help them continue to do that too. And it's just every day there's an opportunity to learn something. I learned something, on my morning walks. I'll look around and see things I didn't see before, taking that all in. And it's just helping give people the gift of just, again, being the best version of themselves, because it's going to be challenging regardless. Even the best life has those obstacles. But if you can just have faith and you are where you need to be. For me, those levels of difficulty are much harder or much easier for me to get through than if I wasn't solid in that, because there would be so much resentment of I'm not living my life. It's always at the backseat of something. I'm in this job I don't like. And, and trying to get people to see that those are all choices. And you may not get to go right now to do what you want to do. But again, it's earning that right to do that. What have you started doing to put that momentum forward to creating that for yourself?
My aha moment there, which I actually did post on social, which is because I have Garen Parkins in the background and he's sort of helping do the mechanics so I can focus on you and the conversation. You don't have to be an expert at everything. You have to be an expert at knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you know yourself, then talking about it publicly.
Yes. Putting it out there.
Yeah. Love that. It was interesting. I found in the research that the PhD in the School of Hard Knocks is more important than the PhD, but you have both. And in your PhD, you did your dissertation on mentoring. Now, I know this is a couple years ago, But what did you learn from that dissertation that you've brought into that was either a surprise to you or you've brought into your daily practice?
I would say, and I started the dissertation. Well, maybe I didn't start it with this, but somewhere in there, I talk about, like, if you see a turtle on a post, like up on a post, that the turtle didn't get there by itself. Like, someone helped the turtle up there. And what was amazing to me in that is, like, nobody gets where they are today without somebody helping them along the way. And it was an amazing leader that encouraged me once I finished my master's to go on and get my doctorate. And I worked for him in corporate America for 10 years. He was amazing. I mean, I owe so much of where I am today to him, because I never thought I would be somebody that would pursue that higher level education. It wasn't that I was against it. It was just, that's just a lot. But, he's just one of many. My dad, my mom, my husband, all these people being very encouraging along the way. And that's why I say, know your people. Surround yourself with those people that can help you in those moments of encouragement and the moments when you're becoming discouraged, and can really support you in getting where you need to be. And that's the beauty of mentorship. And I find from my research, though, that the mentors got perhaps more out of it than the mentee. This giving back and not telling people what to do, but you're guiding people. And what I always say is, someone's hindsight can be your foresight. And I try to say, like, listen to all the mistakes I made and don't make those. Go make your own. Go make your own. And you will. But if we all keep moving that forward and paying that forward, it becomes easier, because I'm not making this whole set of mistakes too. I got my own fresh batch over here. But had I not known this, I may have all of that happening. So in my research, I just realized everybody needs to have somebody that they can really look to for guidance, and not for judgment, but for guidance, and giving them advice on, well, here's some things that you can think about. And, for purposes of the research that I did too, organizations that are thinking about doing mentoring programs or have that, just making sure that people understand that this is a gift. This is something that, we want to afford to you. We hope it leads to you wanting to stay here and aspire to more, maybe just aspire to more in my own job. It doesn't mean rising to that level, but that people understand that, being associated with a mentor doesn't mean that you're broken and this mentor is here to fix you. That's not what a mentor is about. A mentor is about just dispensing advice. And maybe there's some things that you want to go do that person's done. So how did you do it? And the awesome manager that encouraged me to go to into the doctoral program, I would watch him train, and I knew, I was like, I want his job. Like, I want to be him someday. He was training new leaders, and he had so many amazing stories. And I said to him, I want to be you. I want your stories. Those are so good. And he said, Hope, someday you'll have your stories, and someday you will be up here doing this, but it will be you, and it will be your story, and it will be what you have to tell and how you can do it. And he said, it's not to articulate me. He said, I'm not saying don't take some tips away, but he really, really encouraged me to go find my own path. And I think that that's extremely important, because when we try to aspire to be just like someone, we're not. We are all unique human beings. We have that privilege. There's only one of us, unless we're a twin. And even if we're twins, we're still our own in that set. So it's, how do I embrace the things that I have and make it genuine and authentic for myself? And, and I'm one of those people, if I don't feel it, you'll know it by my facial expressions. I've had to work on that, like Lady Gaga, I do not have a poker face. My husband's like, you could have tried at least a little to not act. And I'm like, oh no, I think that goes back to being authentic. And I can't be insincere about something. That's just, to me, I have great conflict and I have great anxiety when that starts happening. And I think transferring that to leadership, as leaders, people want us to be transparent as much as we can be. I don't want to have to guess what's going on with someone. I need for you to tell me, to share me, so I can share with me, so I can help support you in the best way possible. And you have to, some things are private, but for the most part, people should know who you are. People should know who you are. They should know what your passion is, what your needs are. And then if you're surrounding yourself with the right people, we're all helping each other and supporting those things.
That was really nice. Hope, is there a question I should have asked you that I didn't?
I would say for leaders, it's, so what do I do to sustain when I'm stressed out and I'm, like, how do I continue to show up and be myself? And I mentioned this just a moment ago, and it's just make sure you're where you want to be and your life is filled with the things that you want it to be filled with. What is it that brings you joy? And if you're having some stress and you're having some discomfort, what I would say to you is there's probably something that's not sitting right. There's probably something in your baggage that needs to go. It's time to let it go. And I say that, but it's not easy. It's not easy work. It's self-work, and self-work is the hardest work that you will ever do. But if you're feeling like that, I encourage you to reach out, talk to somebody about it, and I don't know if you've used this book ever before, but I refer this a lot to people on this journey to find that. I tell them, don't look at it as an end game job. Look at it as, okay, what brings you joy when you wake up in the morning? Where do you want to be? And what color is your parachute is a great guide to go through of figuring out your own mission, vision, values. And then once you kind of know what that is, then start looking towards things that can bring that to you. But, for so many people, I definitely know I want this job. Well, do you? Do you know that it's going to be filled with you being able to be the best version of yourself and bring your game? Start from the point of, what is it I want to be? Who is it that I am? And then look for those things. And it could be a combination of things that you get that from. And so just, if you're feeling a little bit like that, you deserve that time for yourself. And it can be, 30 minutes a week. You schedule. I'm a big believer in scheduling time with me. And that's my appointment. And I fill that time with, it's either a really nice walk or a yoga, or just sit and I kind of make up my life list of what are the things I'm going to continue to work on. But if we don't start putting effort towards that, it's just going to be one of those things that we're always looking off in the distance, wishing things were different. And the only way things ever become different is if we put movement and action towards it. It's not enough to just say it. So find those people that can listen to you saying it, but also will help hold accountability for you actually doing it.
Well, thank you for asking like a really cool question that you were able to give an even better answer. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Hey, so if you're missing joy in your life, you're some form of corporate exec, you're missing joy, you may be missing hope.
Yeah.
And you can get a little bit of hope in your life. And hope, how best can people reach out to you?
If they go to our website, which is www.hope4leaders.com, we have a number of different resources there that people can access and if they find helpful. We have a free monthly e-newsletter that you can subscribe to on that website as well. And it's just really practical tips that, when you and I were in the green room talking, it's common sense. It's not always common practice. So it's these little friendly reminders of things that we can be doing to help us live not only our best life, but help encourage other people to do the same thing. And I've had so many people do that for me that there isn't a day that I don't want to continue to keep paying it forward, because that's how we all become better.
Agreed. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
It has been a pleasure. You said this is your favorite time of day. And so I am honored that this got to be my favorite time of day today because of joining you. So thank you.
Well, now that's really kind. Thank you. And listen, if you're still here watching or listening, that means we're hoping this is your favorite time of day. And so I encourage you to spread some cred dust. Click on the like button, share with your friends, pull out that aha moment that really resonated with you and start sharing it. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode of Leaders Living Their Values. Thanks so much for joining us, and Hope, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.